What's going on, guys? Gamers Goon here today. You see, I got a big old smile on my face because today marks the beginning of the playoffs. Now, I'm very hyped. We got two games today, one at 1:30 West Coast time, um, and one at 5:15. So that's about 8:15 and 4:30 East Coast. And then tomorrow we have a three-game slate with the Bills, Dolphins at 10. We got a 1:30 game and also a 5:15 game. And then we also got a 5:15 game on Monday, MLK Day. I'll actually be able to watch this one. Usually I have class that goes until 6 o'clock, but Monday we don't have class because it's MLK Day, so I will be able to watch it. But we start off today with the two big games. And the first one is a team that is local, somewhat local to me at least. The Seahawks going up against the 49ers at 1:30. Now, the 49ers are favorited here. They're 9-point favorites to beat the Seahawks. I think it's going to be closer than that. Um, and you never know. You never know with the Seahawks team. The Seahawks team is not a team that should be here. The Seahawks team is a team that going into the year everybody thought was going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL, and they've figured out a way to make the playoffs. Well, granted, they did have to win last week, and they did have to rely on the Lions beating the Packers. They did end up finding their way into the playoffs, and they are a feisty team. They're not going to go down. Now, we are going to go over some injuries that might be big. Obviously, Jamal Adams has been out with the knee. Shelby Harris is questionable with his knee. Rashad Penny won't be playing. Jordan Brooks won't be playing. And then when we go to the 49ers side of things, Jimmy Garoppolo is out. Dante Johnson is out. And Trey Lance obviously has been hurt all season. So it's going to be, I believe, Brock Purdy who's going to be starting for them in this game. And he's going up against Geno Smith, everybody's favorite comeback story. Geno Smith, somebody that was almost out of the league for a minute, but he figured out a way to find his way to the Seahawks. He's been really good this year. 4,000 plus yards, 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 100 rating. He's been exceptional for the Seahawks when it comes to playing that quarterback position with a cast that everybody assumed was going to be one of the worst in the NFL. But Geno Smith has gotten them to the playoffs. He has gotten them there. And I'm definitely hyping this up a lot more than this game probably will be hyped up, to be honest, because I do think that this Seahawks team is feisty enough to at least make it close. A lot of people are saying the 49ers, the only team that really had a chance against them between the three teams they could have played were the Lions, because the Lions obviously could put up points at will. It's just sometimes their defense did not follow through. But you could always expect Jared Goff and company to get some points on the board and at least make things interesting. But nobody's really shown that same respect to the Seahawks when it comes to them having a chance. And I want to just leave a couple things offensively. I know the 49ers defense is pretty good, but they are ninth in total yards, 11th in passing yards. Now they're middle of the pack in rushing yards. They're ninth in points, and that's pretty good. They're top. They're in the top percentage of the league. They're no slouches. Defensively though is where the Seahawks might take some problems. They're the 28th total yards defense. They give up the third most rushing yards out of any team. They're 25th in points given up. They let everybody go on third down, it seems like. Passing, they're a little bit better. Obviously, they have those two is Kobe a rookie? I'm not sure if Kobe's a rookie, but I do know at least Tariq Woolen is a rookie. Let's see Kobe real quick. Can I pull him up? Can I pull up Kobe? Kobe Bryant, is he a rookie? He's 23. When did he get drafted? I think Kobe's a rookie too. But you have two young corners, defensive backs that are having good seasons when it comes to the Seahawks. And 49ers, man, they might just end up getting shocked. Their offense is a little bit better. They rank eighth. Passing offense is middle of the pack, about 13 ish. Rushing, they're going to have a hard time stopping the run. Like I said, the run defense of the Seahawks is not good, and the 49ers rank 8th in rushing points. They're 6th. The defense, though, they're number 1 in total yards. They're number 1 in points given up. So Geno Smith's going to have a lot on his hands, but I think Geno Smith is going to be able to hang around. I don't think that this is going to be a blowout, but I do think Geno Smith will be able to hang around. And it would be cool to see a team like the Seahawks win. The matter is, will they win? I don't know. I'm going to say they don't win. I'm going to have the 49ers win this one. I don't think the 49ers are going to win the Super Bowl or anything like that. And we will discuss that in future videos because I'm not doing the whole playoffs right now. I'm just doing week 1 of the playoffs. But I have the 49ers winning this one. I think it's going to be something like a 24-21 game or like a 24-17 game. I think that we are going to see it go down to the fourth quarter, and it's going to be at least an opportunity for Geno Smith to either tie the game or win the game for the Seahawks. I do think that the Seahawks will hang around. I think they will cover the spread. It's playoff football. You don't know what's going to happen. And a gritty team like the Seahawks this season that shouldn't be here, but they are. They believe they should be here. I think they do compete, and I think they do win. Or, well, at least beat the spread, but they're going to lose. I do think they're going to lose to the 49ers. And then we get to the night game. We got the Chargers and the Jaguars, two teams that weren't here last year that are here this year, and both of them being very different situations. The Chargers were real close last year. They didn't make the playoffs. They were one game out. If they won one more game, they would have been in. And that was the Chargers' problem for the last 2 years. Very much similar to the Dolphins' problem, where they were just barely outside of it looking in. The Jaguars picked first last year. They took Trayvon Walker, and they found their way with their young quarterback, their second-year guy, Trevor Lawrence. They found their way all the way up, moving into the playoffs, going from the first pick in the draft, going from that to a 9-8 team, and going up against the Chargers. The Jaguars, props to them. That's the model that the Bears need to follow if I'm looking at it from my perspective, from who I'm a fan of. But the Jaguars, they got their things done, and while the Jaguars don't have they don't have Calvin Ridley, who is on the roster, but obviously he's out because of his gambling problem. They might be without Brandon Scherff. Obviously, they don't have Smoot, Shaq Griffin, Cam Robinson. Trevor Lawrence is questionable, but I don't buy into that. Trevor Lawrence will play. The Chargers, on the other hand, they have J.C. Jackson out, Jalen Guyton's out, Rashawn Slater's out. It's going to be a game, man. It's going to be a game between two young quarterbacks that could be the futures of this league. And the Chargers are 2-point favorites. I find it hard to believe that I don't know. I have a gut feeling. If you look at the offense of the Jaguars, a lot of their stuff's right around the 10s, 11, 10, 9, something like that. So they're pretty good offensively. They're in the top half of the league offensively. Their defense is a little bit sketch. They're 23rd in yards given up, but they don't give up points. That's good. But they do give up a lot of passing yards. And passing yards against Justin Herbert sounds like a very big demise. However, the Chargers themselves, while they are a pretty good offense, they're not a great rushing defense. And when you look at it, the Jaguars could go in ETN. They could run Trevor Lawrence. They could have guys that go out there and run the ball for them. They had JaMycal Hasty in the backfield. If they want, they could use some jet sweeps with Christian Kirk. The Jaguars have pieces to potentially beat this Chargers team. And I'm going to go with the first upset of the day, and I'm going to say the Chargers lose this one. I know I'm wearing the Oregon football shirt. I know. Justin Herbert, obviously, an Oregon alumni. We still support him, but I got a gut feeling that the Jaguars win this one. They are a team that shouldn't be here, much like the Seahawks, but they believe they should be here, and they've figured out a way to be here. I could see them very easily being a team that makes some strides here in the playoffs, and at least for Trevor Lawrence, eliminate any doubt from last year's draft that he was the number one quarterback, or he was at least deserving of his spot. And I could see that very well starting today, or actually tonight, against the Chargers. Then we get to the Sunday games. We have the 10 a.m. game between the Bills and the Dolphins. This is going to be a showdown of all showdowns. Unfortunately, though, this showdown will be without Tua Tagovailoa. This showdown might be without Teddy Bridgewater, and this showdown might be with Skylar Thompson. Teddy Bridgewater is questionable, but Tua Tagovailoa is out due to concussion, from what I've seen. But obviously, the Bills have a lot to play for. The Bills did not look so great last time they played. I mean, they ended up winning, but there was parts of the games where their offense could have been better. And that's been really the story with the Bills all season long. Is they're winning games, they're getting lucky, they're winning games, but the offense at times becomes stagnant. And the Dolphins could very well be a good team to start that off against, because when you look at the Dolphins, their defense is pretty middle of the pack outside of rushing. They're fourth in rushing defense, but they're pretty middle of the pack. And then you're going up against a good offense that has obviously Tyreek Hill, has Jalen Waddle, has guys that obviously are the big playmakers, but you're also probably going up against Skylar Thompson, who makes it a lot less of a concern that you're going to lose this game if you are Buffalo. And obviously, sorry, I'm just plugging in my controller. But obviously, when you are the Bills, you're going into it with the mindset that Josh Allen can put up points. He's going to go out there and he's going to put up points. And regardless of if that actually happens or not, because we've seen times where Josh Allen has struggled this season, which is kind of unique because we didn't really see these same moments last year, but we did see moments last year where he was in the playoffs and he did have a shootout with Patrick Mahomes. So this could be a good game for the Bills to get their feet underneath them. Obviously, they're playing for something bigger than themselves. They're playing for Damar Hamlin. But the Dolphins, I think they're just in the wrong space, in the wrong spot at the wrong time without the personnel to do it. I don't think Skylar Thompson's going to be able to get the job done. For my boy Joseph Conlon's sake, I do hope and pray that Teddy Bridgewater is able to play, and if he's not able to play, that Skylar Thompson can pull out a miracle for him. But 13.5 dogs, the Dolphins are, and I don't think they're going to beat the Bills, but they might cover that spread. I got the Bills winning that one pretty handily. Unfortunately for my boy Joseph, I don't think that the Dolphins are going to be winning tomorrow. Then we get into a game that I'm pretty excited about. We get the Giants and the Vikings. The Giants, once again, a team that does not really at the beginning of the year seem like they were going to be here, but they're here. They're here. And this is a team that might believe they should be here. The Vikings obviously have 4 more wins than the Giants, but I don't think there's much of a difference between the two, if I'm being honest with you. I think both of these teams are gritty. I think both of these teams have a chance to win this game. While the Vikings are 4 more games better than them, the Vikings at times have played close. They've won close games this season. Just a few weeks ago, they barely beat the Giants by 3. The Giants aren't going to be in this, or aren't going to be out of this. The Giants have a chance. Daniel Jones has a chance. Kirk Cousins is going to be there. The Giants, obviously, pretty much going in with the same people they've been with. The Vikings, Harrison Smith is questionable. Kene Nwangu, the running back, is questionable. Cam Dantzler is questionable. But for the most part, relatively healthy going into this for both teams. So this is going to be an ultimate showdown. I believe this is going to be a close game. The Vikings are 3-point favorites, and I think that's probably about what this game will be played within. I don't know. Something tells me that the Giants might win this. And I know that gut feeling's probably wrong because Justin Jefferson's on the other side of things, and he will make big plays regardless of whether or not the offense goes stagnant. Justin Jefferson will get his. I'm going to go with the Vikings. I think they just had too many pieces not to win this game. The Giants, like I said, a team that people didn't think were going to be here, yet they're here. They have something to fight for. They need to fight for their pride. They need to fight for everything they can because people told them they couldn't be here, but now they're here. So definitely this could turn into being a Giants victory, but I'm going to go with the Vikings. It is the safe pick in this situation. Then we get the Ravens and the Bengals. This game is going to be played in Cincinnati, believe it or not. But this was a game that we were looking at and thinking maybe we're looking at a coin flip for this. No coin flip needed. The Bengals, their last game out, they played the Ravens, and it's hard to beat a team twice, yet alone twice in a row. The Bengals, I would love to say that they're going to win, but it would be ignorant for me not to say that the Ravens have a chance. But the big problem with the Ravens, and I hate to break this to the Ravens fans and the Ravens faithful, you don't have Lamar Jackson going into this game. You don't have him. You don't have Tyler Huntley. I believe he's not going to be in this game. He is questionable, but I'm going off the assumption that Anthony Brown is the starting quarterback. If Tyler Huntley comes back and he is the starting quarterback for the Ravens, I think their chances significantly increase. But I don't believe he will be the starting quarterback. I believe Anthony Brown will be the starting quarterback, and if that is to be the case, I can't help but pick the Bengals. You don't go into the playoffs with third string QB, much like the Dolphins, and expect to win. You have to pull off a miracle at that point. And the Ravens are going to be needing a miracle tomorrow if Tyler Huntley can't go. I think their odds significantly increase with Tyler Huntley. Do I think they're going to win if the Tyler Huntley plays? No, not necessarily. I think the Bengals team's good. I think they're a team that, once again, could make a run at the Super Bowl. Do I think that they're going to necessarily be in the Super Bowl? I don't know yet. It depends how their path paves itself. But I could see them at least vying for a conference championship once again. Then we get the final game of the week, the Cowboys, the Buccaneers on Monday Night Football. Two teams that are going to be heavily invested in. Obviously, the Cowboys faithful always invested in their games, regardless of whether or not they're good or bad. The Buccaneers, this could be the last time we see Tom Brady. This could be the last time Tom Brady plays as a Buccaneer. This could be leading into a Tom Brady free agency run. This could be leading into Tom Brady's retirement. Nobody really knows what this game is going to have happen and what implications it has for potentially the greatest player of all time in Tom Brady. This could be the last time we see him, so this game is really important regardless of just the playoff implications because you have two teams that are playing for a lot. The Cowboys, obviously, many years, they've been teams that they've had teams where they're really good teams, but they just can't get it done in the playoffs. They're teams that should win Super Bowls, but they just can't get it done. And once again, the Cowboys are sitting in the playoffs 12-5, going in, all guns blazing, having a good offense. And can they get it done? Can they get it done? Who knows? Who knows? The Buccaneers, they scraped and clawed and figured out their way even to be 8-9 and still find their way into the playoffs this season. They're a team that, regardless of their record, if they hit the hot streak at the right moment and that offense starts clicking and you get Tom Brady to connect with Mike Evans, you get him to connect with Chris Godwin. Is Chris Godwin playing? Godwin is playing. But if you get that offense cooking at the right time, they're a team that could make a run for the Super Bowl. Much like the Packers this year. They're a team that had unfortunate success early on in the season, and they figured out a way to scrape and claw and get their ways into the playoffs. The Packers did not get their way into the playoffs, but if they won their game, they would have. And they were also a team that, if hitting on all cylinders, could have made it far in the playoffs. But we haven't seen the Buccaneers connect on all cylinders yet this season. We haven't seen that happen consistently for the Buccaneers. But it would be hard for me to say that you go in with Tom Brady off your game in the playoffs. There's regular season Tom Brady, then there's playoff Tom Brady. And I said this last year, and it was not true last year. And maybe that's because Tom Brady is on the downcline of his career, but I do think we will see Tom Brady elevate his play. And by Tom Brady elevating his play, that makes others around him elevate his play. like I said, the offense, very middle of the pack, very mediocre, can't run the ball at all. They do obviously pass the ball a lot, but they're 25th in points scored, only 18 a game. Their defense isn't bad. The Cowboys, they're susceptible for some big passing games. You look at the Cowboys, on the other hand, they're about middle of the pack in passing defense. Their rushing defense is pretty good, top 10, but you're not going to run the ball very much. You're going to let Tom Brady sling it. And when you got guys on the other side that take gambles like Diggs, one or two gambles don't go their way, and what are you looking at? What are you looking at? Oh, my bad. I was looking at the offense. The rushing defense for the Cowboys is not good. The passing defense is top 10. But once again, you got guys like Diggs who take gambles against like a Mike Evans. It could go south. And a good defense, and pretty good defense in the Buccaneers can, if they could weather the storm, we could see like a 17-14 type of game, and maybe we don't need to see Tom Brady throw for 300, 400 yards. We just need to see him throw for 250, which would get it done. I think while Cowboys are favored by 2.5 going into this game, I think I got to take the Buccaneers. Something about me just tells me that the Buccaneers play is going to be elevated once the playoffs start. Do I think they're making a Super Bowl run? Probably not. Probably not, to be honest with you. But I do think that they at least win a game. The Cowboys, unfortunate for them, because they continue, and maybe this is the year, maybe they prove me wrong this year, but they've continued to underperform when it comes to the playoffs, and I think that's something that the Cowboys need to be wary of, because obviously they're going into this playoffs with a stigma that they can't get it done. So the Cowboys have something to prove. Tom Brady has something to prove. So this Monday night game is going to be good, but I got to go Buccaneers. And for the two teams that are watching this that I have not discussed yet, yes, the Chiefs have a bye, and yes, the Eagles have a bye. So there you go. But once again, I will be talking about this in length next week for the playoffs. Once week 2 gets started, we're going to be doing the predictions up until the Super Bowl. Very big weekend in football here. A big weekend for me because I basically had a 5-day weekend because I only have one class on Thursdays, and it's in the morning. So I haven't really done anything since Thursday in terms of school. But it's a big weekend for football. It's a big, big weekend for football. And on top of it being a big weekend for football, it's just a great weekend to have this happen because it's a long weekend, and with long weekends, you need some entertainment in your life, and what better than playoff football? But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.